"Sir, you need to leave now." The words were sharp, way too sharp for a day that was supposed to be all smiles, handshakes, and cameras clicking for every proud family in that auditorium. I remember the air changed the second those guards said it, like someone sucked the joy right out of the room, just left that heavy hush where you could hear the nervous coughs and the creak of folding chairs. Everybody's eyes shot over to the two uniformed security guys, big, stiff, probably fresh out of some how-to-be-intimidating course, standing shoulder to shoulder with the broad-shouldered black man in the front row. His marine dress blues looked crisp as a dollar bill, his posture perfect, but you could see in his jaw he was holding back something fierce. That was Marcus Carter, and even if you didn't know his name, you'd know he was somebody. Next to him, just a few feet away, was his son Jason, skinny, nervous, straightening the collar of his Navy uniform for the 100th time. You know what I mean? You could see pride and fear tangled up in his eyes at the same time. That's when the whispers started to ripple across the crowd. Why would a decorated Marine get thrown out of his own son's graduation? I was in that room, and let me tell you, the tension was real enough to taste. Nobody moved, not at first. Then, like something out of a movie, four guys in the last row stood up. Just stood. No fuss. But every military person in that building knew these weren't just regular folks. Their faces, their stance, even the way they looked at the guard said Navy SEAL. And just like that, the whole room's mood flipped because the SEALs don't get up unless there's trouble worth their time. The guards froze, second-guessing themselves, radios twitching in their pockets. They had no idea the mess they were stepping into, thinking they could just escort Marcus out like he was some lost tourist. They didn't know who Marcus Carter was. 20 years of service. Half his birthdays spent somewhere nobody wants to remember, medals that never quite erased the scars. He'd missed more holidays than most folks could count. But today wasn't about him, or so he thought. It was about Jason, finally earning his Navy stripes, finally making all those sacrifices mean something. Marcus had come early, slipped into his seat, the kind of pride swelling in his chest that he couldn't have put into words if he tried. He was used to the side eyes, the little shifts in body language from certain guest people who never quite said what they were thinking, but you felt it all the same. Usually he let it slide, just another day, but when those guards came up and tried to make him leave, something inside him snapped. Not today. Not while his son was watching. The first guard reached for his arm, and Marcus didn't flinch, didn't raise his voice, just gave this cold warning. "Touch me, and you'll regret it." You ever hear a voice so calm it makes you nervous? That was him right then. The whole auditorium seemed to hold its breath. Then behind them, a voice cut through the tension smooth, but you could tell he wasn't asking. "You might want to step back." One of the SEALs. And just like that, the rest of them started moving closer, slow and steady, like a storm building at sea. The guards hesitated, started radioing for backup, but you could see in their eyes they didn't want this fight. The tallest SEAL spoke up, low and steady. "Sergeant Carter's got more combat hours than this whole room put together. You really want to go through with this?" Nobody had an answer. Marcus stood his ground, but it was Jason who stepped forward, voice cracking just a bit. "He's my father." I don't think anybody was breathing then. Suddenly, the last person anyone expected to intervene came marching down the aisle. A base commander, face red as a fire truck, jaw tight with anger. You could tell he'd had enough of this circus. "Stand down," he barked, and the guards tensed. The SEALs stayed right where they were, and all eyes were on Marcus and the commander. The commander reached out his hand. "I apologize, Sergeant Carter. Without you, this ceremony can't begin." You'd think that'd fix things, but Marcus just looked at him, didn't shake his hand. The damage was done. The message had already landed, loud and clear, that even a Marine in full uniform could be seen as out of place. Marcus saw it in his son's eyes, too, the same ache, that old question burning. Do I really belong here? First time in his life, Marcus couldn't answer it. And then Jason did something nobody saw. Kamingi squared his shoulders, came to attention, and saluted his father right there in front of everyone. Silence fell like a hammer. Even the commander's hand dropped. Slow realization settling on his face. This wasn't about rules or tickets or seats. This was about respect, about something bigger than ceremony. From that moment, everything changed. The guards melted away. the SEALs stood like sentinels, making sure nobody forgot who Jason's dad was. When Jason walked up to get his certificate, you could see his friend stuff, battle-tested nodding in approval, almost like an unspoken promise. Nobody messes with a Marine's family. Not while we're here. And maybe that's the thing we forget: most battles don't look like what you see in the movies. Sometimes they happen in plain sight, in rooms full of people who should know better, fought with nothing but stubbornness and a love that won't back down. That day, Marcus didn't need medals or speechesh, just needed his son to look him in the eye and see a father worth saluting. So, yeah, it ended well enough for the Camarasa standing ovation, proud faces, even a few tears. But I'll be honest, part of me hopes folks went home thinking about what really happened, about who gets to belong and who's still asked to leave, even after all they've given. Makes you wonder, doesn't it though, many Marcus Carters are out there, waiting for their moment of respect? And what would you do if it were your father, your family, your story on the line? So let's hear it. What would you have done, sitting in that room? Where's the line between rules and respect, between keeping order and showing real honor? Drop your thoughts below, because maybe the way we treat our heroes says more about us than any medal ever could.